our main character wakes up in a pig pen. He feels too heavy to move or do anything, until a cute blonde, Jess, comes to help him and take him away. Before he loses consciousness, he observes his surroundings and realizes he is a pig. Next time he wakes up in a room, he thinks the dream is over. It was a weird one considering he ate some pig liver and felt sick at the train station. This weird dream continues as he realizes he is in Jess' room. And yes, he is still a pig. Strangely, Jess can read his mind and is unsure how he turned into a pig. Conveniently, she explains the few terms. Mysteria is the name of this land. Kiltiri is the district they are in which the family of Kiltiran rules over that she works for. Yethma is a maid-servant class, and you can tell as they wear silver collars. They also have mind-reading abilities. Piggy tests by narrating a few dirty thoughts he wants to do on her, and Jess is willing to strip herself. So he makes a few rules about the things he says, and during such monologues, please do not reply or even oblige. Also, he hopes she doesn't treat him nicely always because he feels he cannot repay this debt. It will make him feel lousy. After all, she is not his servant. So treat him like a pig and only offer help when he is really in trouble. As she takes him to the pigsty to resume her duties, she explains the magic stones called Rista with different colors for different uses. Basically, they're like magic batteries created by mages for citizens to use. Then they talk about beauty and friends as well as their dreams, including Jess's of meeting a prince. Then he asks about the chances of one turning into a pig. She says it is not likely, but over 100 years ago, during the Dark Ages when the mages were at war, they often turned people into animals. Now the only descendants live and serve the king. This means if Piggy Boy wants to return to normal, he must see the king. Jess is willing to accompany him, and conveniently, she is taking a leave of absence from the house to visit the royal capital as it is part of her duties. Piggy is going on a shopping date with Jess in town. At Kiltiri, Jess enters a shady back alley to see a shady guy who is willing to sell her a few Rista at a dirt cheap price. Piggy smells something wrong and, on pretense, has her pretend to chase him somewhere. Piggy then tells Jess that she was about to be scammed, seeing he was going to sell that used Rista that has been diluted with some other impurities. The real Rista costs way more than that. Piggy soon realizes that Jess has used a Rista without the family's permission on him. This was why Piggy was able to heal so fast. Jess starts crying for doing it all for his sake, but our Piggy tells her not to. It is time for him to repay her. But can Jess buy a real one with a limited allowance? The art of haggling, so they enter a legal shop owned by Killins. Jess tells him as Piggy told him what to say. Please sell that Rista at a lower price for me. Unfortunately, he can't. Because she is buying it for personal reasons and not for her family, he clearly can't give her a discount. Especially she is a Yetham, so time for another tactical retreat and discussion. Piggy learns she needs to have a Rista by tomorrow before she leaves. If she is going to legally work to earn that much, it will take up to 20 days. So how do others get by? Well, they sell their bodies. Nobody is going to touch his beloved Jess, so Piggy has another plan. This time they return with his plan to top up the balance by trading Piggy. Don't worry, he'll find a way to escape later. She convinced that Piggy is not the family's property livestock. She raised him on her own when he was supposed to be culled and is no longer under Kiltiran. Plus, he can do tricks. Jess has a piggy dance. Kylans can't stop laughing. This is too amusing. Hence Jess can keep her money, and he'll trade the entire pig for a Rista. There is a festival later on, and he plans to make a killing then. Piggy can't risk escape before then, or Killins will go after Jess. That is when Jess suggests she wants to help him with a festival. But doesn't Jess need to return home? She claims another Yethma will replace her. Killins somewhat understands why she wants to sell the pig. He agrees to that, all according to plan. But Killins puts a leash on Piggy. Escaping is going to be hard now. That evening before the festival starts, Piggy talks to Jess about the place. They'll meet up after he escapes. He'll figure it out somehow. Jess works hard while the other workers are just lazing around. Piggy is not pleased with everything, including Killin's discrimination of Jess. But if he can put up with tonight, everything will be over. He won't be seeing them again, so it's time for Piggy to dance. The crowd is totally amused. However, in the final move, Piggy sprains his hind leg. As now Killen's stall gets more customers, he has Jess head home as he cannot impose more on her. Piggy tells her to do so as it won't make his escape suspicious. As the customers want Piggy to dance, noting his collar, they have the workers take it off. Freed, Piggy then signals for people to dance with him and also to buy drinks. This is to intoxicate everyone because at the end of the day, when they have all passed out, Piggy makes his escape to town. But in the alley, he witnesses that shady dealer being chastised by a guy who blames him for failing to seal that deal. Because of that, he must kill Jess and bring her corpse, or he will kill them both. Piggy tails him as he slowly limps towards the Kilteran mansion. This means Piggy reaches there first as he tries to warn Jess. But where could she be? Then he realizes she is already waiting at the appointed spot. She is glad to reunite with him, but he tells of the danger. It is believed those baddies want to kill her so as to silence her in the event that she leaks that deal to her master. Despite that, all Jess is worried about is Piggy. Also, Jess doesn't think her masters will listen to her because of her rank. It is a reason why she can't go back to the mansion. Needing a way for Kilteran to take action, he finds out from Jess that they can lock up that dude in a shed. The plan starts off with Piggy leading that guy to a campfire to make him think Jess is there. Jess uses this opportunity to take the shed's key in the kitchen and prepare the shed. Then Piggy leads him into the shed, but notices a space enough to escape for a cripple like him. So once he is inside the shed, Piggy attacks him by trying to break his leg. Although successful, Piggy manages to get out before Jess locks the door. It seems Piggy has been stabbed. Piggy accepts his death fate, feeling blessed he has a cute girl by his side while Jess continues to weep. Piggy is still alive thanks to Jess combining a few Rista together. He has never felt so grateful, so he offers her to ride on him for the journey. As he is willing to accept Jess keeping some secrets, it seems she fears he will leave her should he know the reason. Since he promises nothing will faze him, she begins revealing that the reason for her journey is that all Yethma turning 16 will begin their journey to the royal capital to offer themselves. Half will die along the way, and those who made it will never return, since nobody knows what goes on in there, as it is isolated from the rest of the world. Why Jess left her house, as though she was on the run, is because of Yethma hunters. They target those who go on a journey since their silver collars fetch a very high price due to their immense magic power. Of course, the only way to get it is to decapitate them. Many make a living this way. While Kilteran is kind enough not to sell her, she also told Killens about it. But there is no telling how much info he has spread, and that's why she's on the run. After hearing all this, Piggy vows to protect her even more. He realizes Yethma hunters tend to operate the closer to the royal capital. He thinks Jess should wear a scarf to hide her collar. When they enter an inn to stay, it seems the hostess also has a Yethma of her own, Siries. Piggy tells Jess to run because he sees a Yethma collar on the wall. However, soon the hostess explains that it belonged to Siries' predecessor, Eyes. She was killed by Yethma hunters, although a local brought back the collar. In fact, this town, Bapses, has a covenant that shields Yethma on their journeys. However, there was a fire incident 5 years ago. Many Yethma died, and those who escaped outside disappeared. Jess and Piggy, along with Siries, head there to pay their respects. Piggy already has Jess, and he is staring and admiring Siries. She is looking at him strangely. Although Jess is very grateful for his scarf since it proves someone cares for him, and it is her treasure. At the sight, Piggy notices a shady guy and his wolf looking at them. He fears he is a Yethma hunter when he suddenly attacks. But it is to kill off that strange Hecropon creature. Siries knows him and assures that Not is a nice person. Not then advises Jess about her scarf because it is obvious she is hiding her collar and gives her one that matches her skin tone. While Piggy still doesn't trust him, he has the Yethma duo treat him like a normal pig. After Jess is done with paying her respects, she goes to a nearby pool to wash Piggy, then Not buys her an alcoholic drink. Then after that he accompanies her back to her room, and of course, Piggy's guts are ringing like hell if this guy is going to assault her. Then he shuts the door, and Piggy gets worried. He thought of breaking in after hearing ambiguous noises, but then remembered Jess' words that she believes in Not, that he won't assault her. But soon he leaves, and Piggy checks on Jess. Sleeping like a baby. Nothing happened. It is then Siries approaches Piggy and wants to talk. It seems she wants to tell Not about him first thing in the morning. Then she starts crying hard. Piggy gets it now that she is in love with Not. Not is planning to follow Jess to the royal capital and be her chabayern. A condition for a Yethma to do that is that they need a strong and brave companion. That is a chabayern. Siries is sad because a chabayern always vanishes together with a Yethma. She thinks Piggy is in love with Jess and should be her chabayern. Piggy explains Jess' kindness that isn't exclusive to him, but for everyone. Piggy agrees to reveal himself to Not. Siries then reveals the reason Not is doing this is because Jess looks a lot like Eyes. Obviously in love with him, but it was unrequited. During that fire incident, he was the one who tracked down the Yethma hunters and brought Eyes' collar back. Hecropon showed up during that incident, and that's why he kills them on sight, the reason they are touted as a bad omen. Not is so obsessed with Eyes that he keeps a picture in his pendant, and the hilts of his swords are made of her bones. Therefore, there is no place in his heart for Siries. Next morning, Jess feels fine, but also embarrassed for getting drunk. Not that it matters to Piggy now. When they go see Not, and before he relays his intentions, Siries interrupts and reveals Piggy is human. Shocked at first, Piggy then does a few things to convince Not so impressed, though. Piggy then says, as Jess chabayern, he has a favor to ask of him. Please follow them to the royal capital. Piggy needs Not to be their guard to fend off Yethma hunters. He tells Siries to let him know her true feelings. She does so, and it makes the whole thing awkward. But Piggy assures that Not will only follow them there. Once they reach the royal capital, he will not follow them. So when the time comes, Not will be Siries' chabayern. With Jess agreeing to this, it is all up to Not. Since he is hesitating, Piggy tells him to finish what he started. Or does he intend to make another sword out of Jess' bones if she dies? So it's decided. As they make their journey, Piggy learns the journey will take 5 days if nothing happens. But problems will arise at Needle Woods, as that is where many Yethma hunters gather. As they enter the next town, they don't take any transportation. It is a crime punishable by death for a Yethma and her chabayern to ride any form of transport. There is also another important law concerning Yethma. They are not to be violated or sexually assaulted. Another death penalty. Piggy mentions that night when Not entered Jess' room. Not claims that as hunters, they treat Yethma equally and don't care about any damn laws. To Piggy's shock, there are only female Yethma, so he is confused how their kind breeds and who puts the collar on them. While Piggy feels awkward in asking all those questions, he doesn't regret bringing Not into the fold, as he is their best bet to get rid of all Yethma hunters without owing them anything since he doesn't intend to forget Eyes. Not has a dream of Eyes. When he was younger, he was injured by some bear attack. Eyes healed him up, but he is pouting. Eyes was going on a journey, and he didn't want her to leave. Not especially. He made that old promise of marrying her. Eyes told him of a way. When he grows older, he'll just have to come with her. While dining at an inn, Piggy notices another Yethma collar hanging on the wall. The rest tell him that it is a sign that this place protects Yethma. Piggy is suspicious because it could be a fake. Fortunately for him, Yethma can tell at a glance if it is real or not. Furthermore, when a Yethma is killed, that collar disintegrates. But if she is taken care of by someone beloved, that collar will maintain its form. More revelations that Yethma are all females. They are raised by the royal capital as maids until the age of 8, and then sold to rich people all over the place. By that time, they already have their collar on, so nobody knows how they come into existence or get the collar on. Even Yethma themselves have no memories on that. That night, Jess talks to Piggy about Not coming into her room that night. In a way she regrets it because she thinks she already has Piggy, but yet had another man come into her room. Piggy doesn't want her to get the wrong idea, but solves the whole thing by claiming they are in that sort of sibling relationship since it's his duty as the big brother to look after her. In the middle of the night, Piggy realizes Jess is up. It seems she can hear a voice of a Yethma named Blaze calling out for help. She lets Piggy hear it. It is an endless loop of her pleading to save her from this terrifying darkness. Jess wants to immediately go save her, but Piggy has his reservations. They let Not hear it, and immediately he sets out to go save her. Piggy throws more caution to the wind. What if this is a trap to lure Yethma in? Even more so when the voice leads Jess to a church. Yethma prays to the stars, and because of that, they do not enter churches. To be more precise, they are forbidden. Not knocks on the door and talks to the priest, who claims he is the only one living here. Feel free to check for yourself. As Not goes in, Piggy realizes someone is coming out from the back and ready to pounce on Jess. Before he could do that, Rossi and Piggy jump in to protect her before Not knocks him out. The priest is also knocked out and tied up. Jess follows the voice, and it seems there is a secret underground passage. Cellars that reek of the stench of blood. Then they see Blaze praying to a Yethma statue in a cell. Her fervent prayers are perhaps what allowed her voice to reach others. They rescue her, and from her brief introduction, it could be that Blaze is also on her way to the royal capital. They rest up for the night, and come morning, they are to part ways. But Piggy wants Blaze to come with them. Doing so might put Jess in danger, but Piggy knows the risk. And so they'll have another Yethma with them. But unlike Jess, Blaze is very silent and reserved. It's like she's a zombie. During the journey, we have a minor distraction of Piggy talking about boobs. He doesn't know Yethma also comes in such different sizes. Jess is a bit jealous since Piggy seems to indicate Blaze is much bigger than hers, so he has to reassure her that he will only look at hers. Then there is this big brother thingy Jess calls Piggy, and it looks like he needs to put a stop to that before it turns weirder. Even more so because Jess heard Not Sleep talking about some big sister, but he denies he has an older sister. Now they arrive at the Impaling Stones area. In the Dark Ages, mages at war used to fling their enemies here to kill them, hence the name. As they camp for the night, Piggy notes that Not is more reliable and a better leader than he thought. Soon Not talks to Piggy and asks if he is prepared to die. What Not means is that no Yethma or her Chabiron has come out alive from the capital. It could be they are heading there to be killed. He gives Piggy some chains like Rossi. This allows him to use some ice magic. Not further reveals he has never killed a Yethma hunter and got lucky to steal Iz's collar back then, so he doesn't know what will happen if he fights a real one. That's why he wants Piggy to be his aide with Rossi when the time comes. Worst case scenario, he may abandon him. Also, when the time comes, it is up to Piggy to choose who dies, his or Jess. Continuing their journey, Blaze remembers her mistress telling her about that red star in the sky, Salvia. It is said if you can get your hands on it, any wish will come true. Blaze has been praying to it ever since. As they stop at an inn, this will be their last night together, so Not wants to at least hold a last supper. However, Blaze doesn't feel like it and retires to her room. Not then talks to Jess. They have decided that if it really comes down to whose life to choose, they will protect Jess over Blaze. Blaze is in anguish and has given up hope, so you can see where their logic lies. Jess feels sad about it, so Piggy reminds her that he is her Chabiron. Not adds about his dream to be someone's Chabiron to the royal capital. But she's dead, and her bones form his swords. Since Jess looks so much like her, he wants to at least accompany her there. He wants her to live the life she didn't get to. More Blaze flashback as a boy talks to her about praying to the star. He calls it nonsense since wishes don't come true. Blaze then explains that by doing so, you can forget everything and just focus on the wish, even if she knows all the praying will not make it come true. The day before she left, she talked to him one last time about using the star as a guide if he ever gets lost in life. As she started her journey, she knew it was never going to come true and it would happen anyway. It is hinted those guys kidnapped and raped her. Then they imprisoned her, and she continued to pray. All of a sudden, Not and company popped up to save her. She has never been held so tightly before, but no longer has the strength to keep holding on to hope. That night, she wakes up Piggy to talk to him. She wants to know about his world, especially if people love small boobs. Some love it small, like Piggy. Blaze is happy to know such a world exists and hopes to be reborn there. As she serves a household of gravekeepers, she thought there must be another world for those who are dead. And since Piggy comes from another world, she wants him to hear her final prayer. She shows her mutilated tummy. Her attackers have already removed her organs, so there is no hope for her. The Rista cannot heal her, as there needs to be someone whom she is attached to for it to work. Thus she will not make it to the royal capital and will give her life to them. That's why, when she dies, she hopes to reincarnate in his world. she also mentions one last thing. Before she left, she was told about the strange rumor of the royal capital. It has no entrance. Could this mean all Yethma are bound to die here? Because no Yethma who entered it has appeared outside, people started hearing rumors of a way to get inside. Appeal to the king. But she prays hard so that all of them can live. As they continue their journey into the woods, Not finds something strange and tells the Yethma to hide. He manages to deflect an attack from a Yethma hunter. As Rossi goes after him, the other Yethma hunters arrive. They hold Not hostage and want him to point out where his Yethma is. At this point, Blaze comes out of her hiding and claims herself to be Jess. Rossi tucks Jess back in hiding. When their boss arrives, Not remembers he was the one who killed and took away eyes. And for Piggy, this guy was the one who sent that guy to kill Tyrion's house to kill Jess. Not signals to Piggy to use his magic to distract them so he can take on the guy holding him hostage. Then they'll reunite behind that big tree. Piggy does his water magic as a distraction, and the plan flows flawlessly. Big Bad Boss tries to incite Not by claiming the things they did to Eyes before killing her. She was clear-headed until she died as she was left begging for her life. Now he tries to do the same to Blaze, but after realizing she has already been gutted, he will kill her. This is when Not and Rossi go to attack and kill a couple of Yethma hunters, while Piggy is ordered to head to Jess' side and run to safety. As Not fights the boss and is losing, the big baddie now turns his attention to Blaze and Rossi. But thanks to Jess and Piggy felling a huge tree to block his path, Not continues to keep him company while the rest reunite. However, Blaze sees a Yethma hunter creeping up from behind and goes to him just to get stabbed. She hopes to reincarnate in Piggy World. That Yethma hunter is now targeting Jess, but Not's raging fight with the boss accidentally blows some fire magic and burns him. Blaze dies, so Jess has no time to cry over a corpse because she needs to get out of here while Not still keeps that guy company. Piggy apologizes that he never told Jess about Blaze knowing she was going to die. Before Jess blames herself for not being attentive, Piggy blames himself for letting his guard down. Piggy wants her to promise to enter straight into the capital no matter what. However, she is reluctant to go in without him. As they arrive, she shouts, "Open sesame," for the opening, but it is not working. The entrance is somewhere, so they walk around the area and do the same thing, but nothing happens. Suddenly an arrow grazes Jess' arm. As they lie hidden, a Yethma hunter tells Jess to give up, seeing the arrow is poisoned. But Piggy doesn't smell any poison and believes it is a lie to smoke out her allies. Piggy can smell this guy isn't working alone, but has a partner hidden nearby. Piggy has Jess make a bluff to call out to Not so as to trick them into thinking she is not alone. Then he has her activate one of the few tools Not gave her. This is to call the wolves for backup. Piggy tells her to get away while he distracts the Yethma hunters. Using another tool to bomb a tree, this splits them up. Piggy then rushes in and attacks the partner. Then he hears Jess calling for help. Fearing another Yethma hunter, he rushes to her, but she grabs him and activates another tool that shelters them. When the wolves arrive, they might also target Piggy. Their howling is heard, so the Yethma hunters get the hell out of here. Piggy believes being a distraction to those Yethma hunters is a better plan, but Jess is adamant she doesn't want him to die. Jess and Piggy lie close to each other until the threat is over. As they emerge, they talk about things, like Piggy wanting to reincarnate as a human. Noticing a Hecropon watching, this has Piggy realize from what has been said about them, and he speculates they are surveillance tools by the mages. After all, many animals in this world do exist in Piggy's own world, except these Hecropon. He further speculates that such surveillance is so because they might be afraid that Yethma who escape their eyes may increase in numbers. Remember, Yethma are not allowed to be transported or engage in sexual activities, hence this weird system of needing them to reach the capital by 16 years of age or they die. Jess then talks to this watching Hecropon to let her in. Whis welcomes them as the stairs behind revert to being rocks. To allay their worries, she says Not is fine and has left Needlewoods. They clean themselves up and rest. Piggy is commenting on how beautiful Jess's body is or the luxurious bathroom. Then it just feels odd as Jess and Piggy share a bed. The next morning, Whis brings them to the top. Piggy tries to ask if she is a Yethma, but she doesn't answer. They enter a huge room where the king awaits. He introduces himself as Evis, and also in this room is Sharvis, his grandson. Whis is Sharvis' mother. Since Evis can read piggy mind, he admits that he is a mage. In fact, all mages can read minds, which is a fact not known by many. Evis gives Jess the opportunity to ask any question. Immediately she asks if Piggy can revert back to a human. Yes, he can, but with a condition that Jess must witness it all the way. After she agrees, he reveals he is not going to do so via magic. He will kill Piggy. It is the only way for his consciousness to return to his body in his original world. Right now that body is in a coma and will eventually die. This also means Piggy will no longer be in this world. If this makes Jess sad, and he doesn't want him to part, Evis is willing to make Piggy part of the royal family. After all, they've been waiting for exceptional mages. This confirms Piggy's suspicions that Yethma are mages. Evis even breaks Jess' collar to officially make her no longer a Yethma. As Piggy still has some questions about Yethma, the king believes most of his suspicions are correct, but will tell him his goodwill and a parting gift for Jess. Piggy explains all he knows about Yethma as well as mages. The reason mages start wars and fell into decline is because magic that was ill-fit for physical bodies became the source of their excessive egocentrism. Lady Vadis, who was the great ancestor, placed those silver collars on surviving mages to control their power and seal off such pride. That also ended the Dark Ages. Because of that, they stopped rebelling and became slaves. While it is too cruel a system, as long as humans exist, they will want to pin the blame on others, and Yethma became that subject. As for Yethma turning 16 and needing to begin their journey, it is to trim their numbers down, and only the most competent shall survive and make it here. Then they will bear children or welcome them into the royal bloodline. As for why there are no males, since no one knows when males might produce children, they are disposed of before being born to avoid bearing children capable of magic without their knowledge. As for society producing Rista for Yethma, this system might not last forever, and Evis admits it is not the best, but still more ethical than the Dark Ages. He promises not to change this as long as he lives and will fight those who wish so. With the question and answer session over, they are free to do whatever they want till sundown, when they are to come to the cathedral for Piggy humanization ritual. So Piggy and Jess hang out and talk about their journey. Jess insisting it is because of Piggy that she made it this far and also vice versa. Jess then reveals a secret, that Rista she used as a prayer was actually to wish for someone to accompany her to the capital as she was afraid to set off alone. We see Jess praying so hard that she doesn't want to go to the capital alone. So as Piggy's soul was floating about, he got caught up by just magic. It is also her wish that made him into a pig, because if he was human, he might not come with her. Now she feels guilty about dragging him, but also thankful that he did. Piggy wants Jess to take this chance and find her own happiness, but Jess, despite all that, prefers to be with him. In the end, she realizes that he has granted her wish, and now it is her turn to grant his. Since they still have time, they head down to town. They had fun, and at the end of the day, they return to Evis, who promises a swift and painless death for Piggy. Jess is allowed to be with him till his final moments. The next thing Piggy knows, he wakes up in a hospital. He survived the food poisoning ordeal. He returns to his normal life, although he feels part of his soul lost. Because of the poisoning, he failed to take his exam and has to repeat a year. Fearing his time at Mysteria would be nothing more than a dream, he started writing his adventures via an online web novel. His final advice in the novel: don't eat pig liver raw. This novel of his garners a few fans, and they would like to meet more and talk about it. As they do, they talk about the Mysteria adventures, and our Piggy virgin thought they were trying to add more fantasy garbage into the story. Until he realizes that they too returned from Mysteria. Hence the mission now is to return to Mysteria. In the end, we see a pig peeking out from a barn.